Do you know your quality management risk factor? No? Then you do not know the risk of your quality management system in creating quality spills, major supply chain disruption, high parts per million, customer complaints and dissatisfaction, and worst case analysis, being placed on a business hold. Hi, my name is L. Lewis Garrett. I am the founder and creator of the Supplier Development Institute. I have over 31 years of experience in manufacturing, quality, lean, and supplier development. Did you know there are 2 questions, once answered, can give you your quality management system risk factor? Now, before we start talking about the 2 questions, let me first talk to you about the 2 key quality management systems failure modes. There are 2 key things that I've been able to identify over my 31 plus years in this industry that drives failure in a quality management system. Number 1, we do not make the business case for quality. In a lot of cases, you will find that the business plan and the quality operating plans are 2 separate documents or entities. They're not tied together. I will explain this a little bit more in failure mode number 2. We disconnect our quality management system from our business objectives of safety, quality, cost, throughput, and delivery. When we make that disconnection, quality is now not an integrated portion of our entire strategy, but quality impacts every key aspect of our business. Even to improve safety, there are quality strategies that are directly tied to that performance measure. Same thing with cost reduction, throughput, and on-time delivery. Let's take a look at what I'm really talking about in the real world when you're looking at safety, quality, cost reduction, throughput, and on-time delivery. This is a summary of an actual project of over 52 suppliers. When we started out, we ended up in the safety category of 0 lost time and 0 near serious or accidents. In the quality side of the fence, those 52 suppliers were somewhere around 7,925 parts per million. When we were done integrating this process using these strategies, we had all 52 suppliers within 14 months operating at or less than 1 parts per million. And the costs savings were in the millions, from 30 million annually, and that did not actually include the material labor piece, just a direct part piece. And throughput increased by 45%, and on-time delivery went from 65 to 95.75%. Just looking at it from a standpoint of identifying those 2 failure modes, as well as understanding from a quality management systems point of view what are the and where are the key failures or potential failures located in order to prevent them. Let me give you some simple instructions on how this process works. It's taken some time over 31 plus years to develop the backdrop, but the front phase of this is very simple and straightforward. Each question has 6 multiple choice answers. Select one of them. If you require more time to gather the data, this is not timed or clocked, so you can pause this particular slide at this point, go do your data analysis and collection and come back and answer, or you can actually just restart this over again, and when you get to this slide you have the data, then you can answer the question. But more importantly, I need you to answer each question factually, honestly as possible. Simple garbage in is garbage out here. If you're fair and honest with yourself, it's going to give you fair and honest feedback on your quality management system. I need you to write down and keep the number and the answer you selected. There are only going to be 2. through the 0 through 5 selection. You keep track of which one you selected as well as which item, content, verbiage that you also selected. Upon completing, now we're going to go to scoring your quality management system. And it's a simple process here, and that is just add your two selected numbers together. And then we're going to give you our risk factor scale to be able to measure, to understand how risky is your quality management system. The two key questions that will help determine the risk of your quality management system are going to be very simple questions, but the scope is going to vary. One scope is going to take a look from an external point of view, and the second question is going to take a look at the same time factor from an internal point of view. And the question simply is, when was the last external quality failure? And here we're defining quality failure in a broad array of terms. It could be either one or all of these at the same time, but when was the last one? It could have been a quality spill, major disruption, customer complaint, high parts per million, field action, dissatisfied customer, or worst case analysis, business hold. Now the time factors here are broken down into 6 categories. It's very important that you pay attention to the time factor here because it helps us to take a look at the variation of your system over a certain period of time. Starting with 0 going all the way to 5, 0 being greater than 15 months, to 5 being currently having or in an external issue. Now we go and take a look at the internal quality failure, and we use the same quality definition of quality failures and the scope of those failures as well as the time factor, and we do the same exact thing. It's very important that we keep in mind that this is very simple, but what's very important is the information on the time factor. So if you need to stop, gather, and research information about your organization, feel free to do so. Just stop the presentation here, gather, research the information, and then come back and complete the evaluation. Keep in mind, garbage in, garbage out. Our SDI risk factor scale is similar to that of your potential failure mode effects analysis or your PFEMA, except our scale goes from 0 to 10 versus 1 to 10. And here's how that works is there are zones. There is a red, yellow, and green zone. Any rating scoring from 10 to 7 will be considered in our red zone. And our red zone is a strong indication that your internal and external systems may not be working properly. Second zone would be our yellow zone, and a rating between 6 and 4 indicates there is a balance between your internal as well as your external system, but there is opportunities to improve in one or both of them, and there needs to be an additional checkup or follow-up or analysis to really determine where those targeted areas are in order to drive improvement. And then last, there's our green zone. Our green zone is anywhere between 3 and 0. This is a very strong indication that both your internal and your external quality management systems are working properly. Here, there's not a lot of recommendation other than to continue with your current quality management system and improvement plan. Again, how do you determine your rating scale? You simply take the two selected items from the previous evaluation, add those two numbers together, and see where your system falls. And that is SDI's factor scale on risk. This will give you a very good idea of how risky your current quality management systems are. Now that you've completed that and you understand where your quality management system is on a rating scale, the next step in this process is the optional one. This is where we can assist and provide services to assist in driving continuous improvement. But again, if you're in the green zone, then all we're going to recommend to you is that you continue to work on your system on your current plan and drive continuous improvement. If you're somewhere between the yellow and especially the red zone, and then the next step in our process will be to help you understand what we call our 4-step communication and development process. And that is providing information to you as the customer, establishing an understanding around the development of these systems, the integration of these systems, and how to transfer quality into value. And then into the 3rd step, which is the commitment and the self-motivation piece. And this is where we show organizations how to reconnect their quality management system to their business planning process, and definitely tying into the key measures of safety, quality, cost reduction, throughput, and delivery. And then from there, as a supplier, you drive the rest of the system. Our job is to work with key resources in the area in which we call the ring of understanding. This is where we spend time deep diving, understanding your operating system, and understanding where the disconnects are, working with your organization on how to reconnect those things, and we reconnect them and move forward. This is where our services come into play and our value add is located. This is what we do. There are 2 ways to approach this process. One, we have standing workshops that are already scheduled for 2016. We have a partnership with the Mott Community Regional Technology Center, and you can see on the screen in front of you January all the way through September of 2016. We have what is called our 40-hour core quality tool workshop. We spend Monday through Friday working on core tools. And these are some of the key core tools that are going to be required to close the gap in your quality operating system. The second option is to just contact us and quote an on-site quote to come on site and provide the same service. Now there's a little different in that service for the fact that the program is developed and catered based off of what your gaps are from our initial findings and observations. But it's the same program, same process, and the same results. So you have 2 options. One, you can attend one of our on-site workshops that are already scheduled, or you can contact us and quote and schedule one on site for your organization. Hopefully when we do this, you focus on the gaps that's in your system so that when we're done, we will not only have trained on those gaps, but have started the implementation process for closing those gaps. Again, that's the Supplier Development Institute, and those are the resources and services that we leave as an option for you to consider. Hopefully you do. If not, visit our website at sdiqualitytraining.com, and you can find additional resources as well as individual training for each of those elements we have in our 40-hour workshop. I thank you very much for this time, and definitely hopefully the information that was given was helpful for you to determine how risky is your quality management system.